Thank you for joining us today. My name is Julius Muchunguzi. Today we are joined by Professor Attahiru Jega, the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission of Nigeria, INEC. Thank you for joining us, Professor.
Thank you very much, Julius.
Professor, what needs to happen to ensure that there is credible elections in Nigeria?
A number of things need to happen. First and foremost, the Independent National Electoral Commission, which I am privileged to chair, has to do its work with professionalism, without partiality, and creating a level playing field for all contestants and all political parties. We have resolved to do this just as we have done in 2015. We, in fact, have planned to do even better in order to have to further enforce the integrity of the electoral process. But beyond just what the election management body does, there is need for the stakeholders to also do their best to contribute to having free, fair, and credible elections. Politicians really have to conduct themselves with civility. They have to guard and watch their utterances so that they do not make statements which are inflammatory and which are capable of igniting conflicts and violence. I say this because, regrettably, as we move closer to 2015 elections in Nigeria, we have seen a tendency in which politicians, first of all, don't respect the rule of the games and do not guard their utterances. So this is very, very important. Of course, all other stakeholders have a responsibility to come into the electoral process with a positive attitude and with commitment and resolve to contribute to ensuring that the elections are peaceful, are free, and are fair. So really, both the election management body and all stakeholders have a positive role to play, and we must all join hands together and do our best.
Speaking about the preparations for the elections coming up in 2015, what lessons have you learned from the election of 2011? What key highlights, highlights of the key lessons that you learned from the election of 2011 that will help you to carry through a better, more credible election?
One of the key lessons we've learned is that planning and preparations have to commence very early. We were appointed 8 months before we conducted the 2011 elections. We didn't have time to plan and to prepare. So early preparation, adequate preparation, and planning are crucial to having successful elections. It was a bitter lesson that we learned, and we have since put it to good use in terms of the preparations we've made for 2011 elections. We've also, for the 2015 elections. We've also recognized the need for partnerships. We have to strengthen relationships and partnerships with all stakeholders so that we can build mutual trust and confidence, and so that every partner or stakeholder knows his or her role and plays it appropriately. And of course, we also realize that an election management body cannot please everybody. The key challenge is to remain focused and to discharge the responsibility impartially and on a non-partisan manner. And we have been doing our best also to ensure that that happens. Of course, we've also learned lessons about ensuring that the logistics are right and the funding is there to be able to do all the procurements in good time before the elections. So we've learned very good lessons, and we've factored all of this into our preparations for 2015, and that is what gives us the confidence that the 2015 general elections promise to be much, much better in terms of their being free, fair, and credible than 2011.
Thank you very much. You have been involved with some of the work of the Commonwealth. How useful have you found your involvement? Perhaps you want to tell us what kind of issues you've been involved in and how useful and relevant have you found them in your own work?
Well, I thank you very much. I have been involved in the Commonwealth Electoral Network, and I'm privileged currently to serve as a member of the steering committee. I have also been involved as a member of the Commonwealth Election Observation Mission. I was privileged to observe the elections in Maldives under the platform of the Commonwealth Observer Group. And so I am familiar with the good and or rather excellent work that the Commonwealth is doing to deepen democracy throughout the Commonwealth and to ensure that elections are conducted with credibility and integrity. And this is a very commendable job, and my exposure to the work of the Commonwealth has also added tremendous value to my own work as chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission in Nigeria.
Right, and finally, the Commonwealth had observers in Nigeria in 2011, and they wrote a report that was submitted to the various stakeholders, including yourselves. How useful did you find the report and the recommendations?
We found the report very, very useful. It was a very detailed, carefully written report. It highlighted what observers have seen as the good aspects of our elections, and it has also highlighted areas which we need to improve upon as we prepare for subsequent elections. So we found the report very, very useful, and we have taken many of the recommendations and suggestions, and there is no doubt that they will help us to improve in the conduct of our 2015 elections.
Thank you very much, Professor Attahiru Jega, the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission of Nigeria.
Thank you very much, Julius. Thanks for having me.